Hi, Derek here with Grimdark, Ohio. Another one of these daily vlogs, and today I'm just going to go over some of the miniatures and lore for the Forsaken tribes. It's one of the kind of year one factions for the game's setting. And yeah, there's a couple cool things with everything here. So this model here, Ramiro, will be kind of the first character. Initially, he was going to be coming out before any of this other stuff, but I think it's actually going to be a 3 model release between him and these 2 models in April. But yeah, he's pretty cool. He's got this like kind of tech Makwaddle with some of those like deep shards embedded into it, almost like what the vase do. But he's got tire scrap armors and uses it as like a holster for his little gun here. Kind of cool. But yeah, he's one of the special characters for the year one stuff. Kind of a neat model so far in playtesting. It's like anything with this stuff, it's not all ironed out, but he kind of is like he likes to charge in, kind of does this inspiration thing, and gets everybody pumped up. So then anybody else that kind of follows in after him on the charges gets some pretty good benefits. Next we have Mac and Isla, and these are a pretty cool pair. They're gonna be 2 models that work in tandem, which really just means like you can't bring one without the other. Mac is actually based off of our family's Old English Bulldog. When I was doodling, one of my kids was like, "Hey, you should do a big bulldog like Mac, but have him mixed with alligator DNA, and it could be like this big alligator dog thing." And it wasn't an idea that completely stuck, but I decided to play with it and keep some of those elements. So he's kind of got this like metal welded spiked rack along his back here. He's got these big pipes coming out, so he's this big cyborg dog. And the sculpting's absolutely phenomenal on this. This is one of the ones that Sam has worked on, as well as Isla. All the rest is from Claudio. But yeah, it just kind of we rolled with it, and so now it's basically like a girl and her dog is the kind of the theme there with those 2. She's somewhat, not that like any of these characters are not important, they all have a kind of a role or a purpose to play, but the 2 of them are kind of neat. Part of the whole thing of the Forsaken tribes existing is there's a piece that gets brokered between Ancilia, which is one of these kind of big conglomerate mega corporations that at the time was largely the de facto power of Mars. And when there's a large breach that opens in orbit around Earth, they send a fleet, and Earth and the powers that be there, the different nations of the tri-block, as well as the other corporations, mega corporations that exist there, and the powers on Luna, on the moon, they all say, hey, if you cede the remainder of your presence on Earth, and just you can go and establish Mars as your own, we won't fight over this, we'll kind of you leave Earth alone with these breaches. This one's ours. Any that show up within a certain radius of Mars are all yours. And there's kind of this agreement, this treaty that gets established that determines the rules of how these breaches work between different powers. So Ancilia kind of pulls a bit of a trick as this is all getting essentially penned and written and wrapped up. They kind of do like this merging takeover of a bunch of other companies and basically Earth, like overnight, between what was already established as Ancilia and what they convinced to go with them, basically like 30% of Earth's GDP just up and leaves. So it leaves these massive voids of power. So you're talking, like big roving wasteland type stuff. So these guys have this like Mad Max kind of look, mixed with like almost like a Native American, Mesoamerican kind of feel. Feathers, like I said, this guy's got like a muckwaddle. The voids of power, you get these kind of like these roving warlord and gangs, and some of these nations come in to try to reclaim those territories that these massive powers left behind. And then there's a lot of areas that just kind of get left forgotten amid all of that. And really, it's kind of happening all over the planet. Although with these, it's these Forsaken tribes are basically around America, the UAS, as it's called in this game's setting, the United American States. It's one of the tri-blocks. With it being a model agnostic game, the idea is people can kind of take, these models, these different designs, and they can mix them, do different things with them. But the official kind of look and feel for them is this native / Mesoamerican Mad Max kind of wasteland warrior kind of feel. This post-apocalyptic looking thing. So yeah, that's a little bit of that. And onto these guys. So this will be the first modular kit, or kind of customizable kit. Part of the whole design philosophy for this, I really wanted fidelity of sculpt, as well as just those very traditional sculpt proportions. Kind of get away from the bobblehead, oversized gun cartoon that a lot of companies do. I understand why they do it. When you're doing large-scale war games from a distance, you want to know who has what, and that's a way to differentiate that. Also, just the old manufacturing processes and things like that. But since these are 3D printed models, and even if you don't have a printer and you buy physical prints, like from our partner Strange Plastic, who is going to be the only company doing that. There's not going to be any kind of like vendors licensing and anything like that. So, these are all going to be 3D printed, and printers can really do some impressive stuff. And I thought, why not really showcase that and just show that off? So these guys are going to have 8 different heads. One's missing because I dropped it, and I kind of gave up on looking for it. And then there's going to be a rifle as well as a shotgun variant of 3 different poses. Again, this is kind of all one piece. Some of that just is for the reason of like fidelity. Whenever you have extra pieces that have to, worry about how they joint goes in and things like that, it really can take away from some of the design. So like, you know, on an arm like this, you know, you'd either have to have this be kind of this whole piece pop on, in which case you wouldn't get like these cool little folds down in here, or you'd have the arm go up and into the shoulder pad from underneath, which, you know, then you're only, you know, limited to this kind of triangular shaped piece that you wedge in there. So yeah, it's just a decision that was made for that. But let's see if I don't know if I can actually get these little heads up close where you can see them well. Let's see if the camera will focus on it well enough. Maybe I'll just put pictures over it. Yeah, I'll just put pictures over this instead to kind of show it off. But yeah, these guys are the commandos for the Forsaken Tribes. So depending on which loadout, they actually function a little different beyond just the weapon. For example, the guy with the rifle, he likes to, you know, be a little further away. He's a little more defensive and has an actual snap action that reflects that. That kind of helps, you know, kind of keep him nice and safe. And then the one with the shotgun has an ability that I think there's at least 2 models in the game currently in the play testing that have it. But basically, if they're moving, it's like aggressive, I think is what I called it. If they've moved in any way for, you know, that turn when they go to make an attack, they actually get like a reroll for that attack. So you kind of want to be moving up and being aggressive with them. All these commandos also have Vanguard, so they'll actually deploy further up the table than the rest of your models. So you can kind of set up some ambushes or go for like some alpha strikes, and they're really good at getting after objectives and stuff, and just all that kind of fun stuff to really become a nightmare for your opponent. So yeah, that was a little bit of lore and showing off some of these models. Like I said, these ones over here, these 3 will be the April release, and these, I believe, are either going to be part of like the Kickstarter as a stretch goal, as well as some other stuff that's being worked on, or there'll be a release in a month later in the year. But I think all the months are taken up through something like August, maybe. So if they are released as a monthly release, unlike My Mini Factory, it won't be till probably September, October. So yeah, till tomorrow, I guess.